Today we'll look at how to run a plastic large strain analysis in solution 401, the multi-step nonlinear solution. We'll begin by opening our bracket. We'll create our simulation files and a new solution, 401, multi-step nonlinear, and we'd like to turn on large strains and material nonlinearity. Next, we'll go to the case control section where we'll make sure that we have output requests for both contact and plastic strain. All right, we'll also create a subcase. We'd actually like to create two subcases. The first one will have an end time of 1 second with 40 increments, and the second will have an end time of 2 seconds with 10 increments. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we select the number of increments in just a little bit, but it can be an iterative process, seeing how the solution progresses based on the number of increments that you've selected. Next, we'll go to the idealized part where we'll create our RAM that we'd like to use to crush our bracket. So we'll go to modeling to create an extrusion using a sketch that we'll place along a curve on the edge of the bracket, and we want it at 50% of the length, so it'll be right at the apex there, and we want it normal to a vector of the YC axis. Next, we'll create a rectangle that will extrude, and we'd like to make it large enough so that while the bracket is crushing, that we'll still maintain contact with our RAM. All right, we want to extrude that 1/4 of an inch. All right, so that looks good. Next, we'll go to the FEM, where we'll begin to create a mesh on our bracket. And we'd like to control the number of elements through the thickness. So to do that, what I'll do is create a map mesh on the end first. Here we'll select Export Mesh to Solver off because we just want to use this as a seed for our brick mesh that we'll be creating in just a moment. And at 2/10 of an inch, it doesn't look quite fine enough, so we'll go ahead and put more elements through the thickness, and then we'll also put more elements through the blend. All right, so that looks good. Next, we'll use that seed mesh to sweep some bricks through our bracket. We'll use the multi-body infer target with a source element size of 1/4 of an inch. All right, we can see that looks good on the other side as well. Next, we'll go ahead and sweep some bricks on our RAM. We use the same source element size, and that's important when we have contact, which we'll be defining in just a moment, to have similar element sizes in contact. That will help with convergence for the solution. All right, so here you can see our seed mesh of our shells that's not exported to the solver. And what we'll do is we'll define just physical properties for our 3D meshes since we're not exporting our 2D mesh. First thing we'll do is select our material property. And we have one in the library that I've already assigned to these bodies, so we don't need to specify it from the library, but in case you haven't, we'll use the steel rolled as a seed for a material that we'll create by cloning our rolled steel material. And what we'd like to do is make it an M-Plas material instead of a matte S1. And this will give us the material type of M-Plas that we want that's recommended for running nonlinear plastic analyses in solution 401. So now we'll go to our local materials, we'll select our steel rolled M-Plas, and we'll use that to assign to our physical property to our collector. Next, we need to select an integration network of B bar. That's also recommended for running nonlinear plastic analysis in solution 401. That will help with convergence. All right, so next we'll go to the sim. We'll define some constraints. First will be a fixed translation constraint on the ends of our bracket. And next we'll create an enforced displacement constraint on the top of our RAM that will bring the RAM down and crush the bracket. So we want to hold it or constrain it in all degrees of freedom except for the y direction, which is DOF2. And for that one, we'll specify a field that will be a function of time. Here we'll take the defaults and we'll select what the displacement should be at specific times. So at 0, we want it 0. At 1, we want it to have fully crushed the bracket at minus 0.8 inches, and then at 2 seconds we want to lift it back off of the bracket to where it started from. Alright, so that looks good. Lastly, we need to define surface-to-surface contact between our RAM and the bracket that we want to crush. Here we'll select the manual method and we'll specify our source and target region. Our source region will be these faces on the bracket that will be in contact with the RAM, and then the target region will be the face of the RAM that will be in contact with the bracket. Then, as a best practice, we'll select a min search distance as minus 30 thousandths, max as positive 30 thousandths of an inch. And that will be to compensate for any initial interference that may exist. And also, if you would like the solution to run a little bit faster, you can specify a keyword or put in parallel equals 16. Here you can just put a 16 at the parallel if you don't want to type out the parallel equals. And we're ready to run. And here we'll be monitoring the solution in terms of the convergence graph and also the SC monitor. So here we want to look at the cumulative iteration history. And that will show us initially that the solution is bisecting. The time step is continuing to reduce in order to get convergence. We can also at the same time look at the SC monitor here. And now you can see that the solution is converging as we're moving forward in time. Now we want to select a number of iterations that is enough in order to not have to bisect too much, but also not too many such that we're taking too many iterations in order to get to our complete solution. But this number may vary depending on how the solution is converging and how much resolution that you need in each time step in your solution. So here you can see once we've started to lift the RAM, we're bisecting again, but I've changed the time step to be larger with fewer iterations in order to lift the RAM back off of the bracket. So here we can see the solution completed in just under 4 minutes, and let's take a look at the results. We'll start looking at the displacement results. Here we can animate those across iterations. And we can see how the RAM crushes the bracket. All right, now to see a different result, what we need to do first is to stop the animation and also close the animation dialog. And then we can select our contact pressure results. We can animate those as well. And also our effective plastic strain results. And then after we close our animation dialog, we can display the plastic strain results. And we can animate those across iterations as well. And we can see that our max effective plastic strain is just about 15%. And that's how to run a plastic large strain analysis in Solution 401.